Donald Trump's biggest selling point, his claim that he can manage the economy better than anyone else, has just hit a wall. For the first time since 2020, America is actually losing jobs, and the numbers aren't just bad, they're historic. So, what's going on? Is it just a blip or the start of something much bigger? And more importantly, what's driving this sudden fall in jobs? Could it be the very tariffs that were supposed to protect American workers? Let's break it down. Trump has always sold himself as the businessman president, the guy who understands growth, investments, jobs. It helped him in 2016. It helped him on his return to the White House. And for years, the U.S. job market seemed to back him up. Month after month, jobs kept coming in, nearly 5 years straight of uninterrupted growth. But that streak is over. In August, the economy added just 22,000 jobs. Economists were expecting 7 or 8 times that amount. And here's the kicker. June's numbers were revised downward, showing an actual loss of 13,000 jobs. That makes June the first month since the CO shutdowns that the U.S. has gone backward. Combine that with August's stall and the story is clear. The engine that powered Trump's political brand is sputtering. But here's where it gets interesting, because while the numbers look bad, the way Trump is reacting may be even more telling. The unemployment rate has ticked up too. Now it's at 4.3%, the highest since 2021. Sure, that doesn't sound catastrophic, but rewind just a few months and unemployment was at 3.7%. That half-point jump means momentum is fading. And what makes it worse? For the past 3 years, the job market survived one crisis after another, the pandemic, supply chain chaos, even inflation. Now that resilience looks like it's cracking. Nowhere is the pain clearer than in manufacturing. Remember, this was Trump's promise. Bring back factory jobs. Make American industry great again. But in August, manufacturing shed 12,000 jobs. That's the 4th month in a row of losses. Instead of a boom, factories are shrinking. Why? Economists point to tariffs. The rules keep changing. Sometimes tariffs go up, sometimes they're paused, sometimes they come back again. And when businesses don't know what the rules will be next year, they hold back, they don't build, they don't hire. The very policy meant to protect workers is leaving them in limbo. So if the numbers are this bad, who does Trump blame? Last month, he fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the agency that publishes the jobs report. This month, he turned his fire on Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, accusing him of being too late to lower interest rates. The message is simple. Don't blame Trump, blame the messengers. But firing statisticians doesn't create jobs. And the truth is, many of the problems run straight through Trump's own policies. That's why the political risk here is enormous. For most presidents, a weak economy is bad news. For Trump, it's existential. He campaigned as the man who knew how to run the economy. That was his edge. And now the metric he leaned on most, job growth, is turning against him. You can see it in the polls. Back in January, Trump's economic approval rating was positive, plus 6 points. Now just 8 months later, it's fallen to 18. That's a 24-point swing. And with midterms on the horizon, Republicans know exactly how dangerous that is. But what about Trump's claim that the jobs data can't be trusted? Let's unpack that. Trump and his allies say the Bureau of Labor Statistics is biased against him. They argue the numbers are cooked. But here's the reality. The BLS collects surveys from businesses. Lately, fewer businesses have been responding. That means early reports can be off and revisions come later. That's why June was adjusted downward. It's not manipulation. It's incomplete data being filled in. Wall Street still considers the jobs report the gold standard. Investors use it, economists use it, policymakers rely on it. The revisions are frustrating, yes, but they're not evidence of bias. And even with those revisions, the trend is undeniable. Things are slowing down. And then there's the Federal Reserve, maybe the riskiest part of this whole picture. Trump insists Powell waited too long to cut rates, but his attacks go beyond criticism. He's floated the idea of replacing Fed officials who don't do what he wants. That's where history comes in. In the 1970s, Richard Nixon pressured the Fed to keep rates low before his re-election. It worked temporarily, but it unleashed years of stagflation, weak growth, plus soaring prices. It took brutal recessions in the 1980s to dig out of that mess. Economists fear the same thing now. If the Fed is seen as a political tool, investors lose confidence. That means higher long-term interest rates, higher borrowing costs, and higher mortgage rates. In other words, families already struggling with inflation would get squeezed even harder. Tariffs tell the same story. Trump sells them as a way to protect American workers. But the unpredictability has frozen decision. Businesses don't know if their inputs will cost 10% more or 25% more or none at all, so they wait, they sit on the sidelines. Economists call it stasis, and stasis means stagnation. That's why the timing couldn't be worse. Midterms are less than a year away. And unlike culture war issues, which split voters along party lines, the economy cuts across everything. When jobs get scarcer and bills get bigger, frustration doesn't stay partisan. Trump claimed credit when the numbers were good. Now that they're not, he owns them. So, is this just a soft patch, or is it the beginning of a downturn that could reshape Trump's presidency? It's true that monthly jobs reports can be noisy. Sometimes they look worse than the reality. But with hiring slowing, manufacturing shrinking, unemployment rising, and policy uncertainty piling up, this feels different. The risk isn't just economic, it's political. And at the end of the day, voters don't care about survey response rates or revisions. They care about their own lives. If jobs are harder to find, if mortgages are harder to afford, if groceries keep costing more, they'll notice. And right now, that's exactly what the numbers are saying. Trump can fire statisticians. He can blame Jerome Powell, he can question the data, but the job market tells the truth. Hiring has slowed, manufacturing is retreating, and approval ratings that once showed economic strength are sliding fast. For a president who promised prosperity, the contrast between the message and the reality is getting impossible to ignore. So here's the big question. If the economy keeps weakening, can Trump keep blaming others, or will voters decide it's time to blame him? That's it for today's analysis. Thanks so much for watching. This channel is independent. We don't have corporate backing. Your support is what keeps us going. If you found this breakdown valuable, please hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. It really helps more people discover our work. And don't stop here. On your screen right now is the next video we handpicked for you. It dives even deeper into news which matter,